Good evening, everyone. Welcome along to rounds 17 and 18 of this 30th season of TGP1, and you join us here at the Japanese Grand Prix, and the title can well be decided tonight. We could see Softy take a third driver's title, which would be some achievement, putting him equal third on the all-time list of most drivers' titles. And so far, he has set the lap to be a 1:26.8. 4 tenths quicker than Dan, who we are watching now. He is about to start his next lap, hitting it round in time. You can see Paul is third with James fourth, so a good qualifying so far for the Ferrari drivers. And Cliffy currently down in 13th position, which is quite a shock. So surely he'll be on a lap himself, trying to get himself into first position, because he's currently 5 seconds back. So I'm sure that's not a decent lap time that he's set yet. And I'm joined again by Cliffy. Cliffy, welcome. Do you think we'll see the title decided tonight, or can Cliffy, Aidan or James push it back to next week?
Hello everyone. Hello, good evening. Good evening. It's going to be interesting ways with Softy on pole. He's got a really good chance of extending his lead, and like I said, yep, going into United States, he could well be champion. With Paul McGuinness up in third, he could play maybe a factor in this race with helping his teammate get up the order. Currently Aidan is going to be starting in P11, which is technically not a bad place to start, because he could go on the alternate strategy for the race. Also the Ferraris as well in second and third with Dan and James. They're also ones to watch for this race. Well,
Dan and Cliffy, I'm told, are on laps. Paul, Smudge and John are now entering the pit lane, so they are done. There are 4 cars left to set a lap time. Also up for grabs is the Constructors' title. 65 points is the difference between Renault and Sauber now, with Ferrari only an additional point back from Sauber. So 3 teams separated by 66 points. And it's all still to play for. But Dan the man, as he completes his qualifying lap, looking for a pole position, looking for what would be a surprise pole, currently 4 tenths back from Softy. Can he gain the time to put himself at the very front here in Japan? He straight lines the end and unfortunately can't go any quicker, and Cliffy is retired from the session, which means he will start from the dead last. So only Matt left to go, and as I say that, he goes second, 2 tenths back from Softy. So Softy and Matt is your front row, with Dan and Paul starting behind, but Cliffy down in 13th, and it's not an easy track to overtake. You've got obviously the main straight, but aside from that, there's a lot of difficult opportunities, a tight, twisty circuit. So is it going to be hard for Cliffy to find himself challenging for the win now, Barry?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Unless Ray might be a factor or a safety car, but starting from the back, he says lap time on the medium tyres, which is interesting.
Bit of a shock that, yeah, and medium tyres. So obviously he won't start the race on that. I suspect he will choose the soft tyres and then try and switch to the super soft at the end. We're expecting a dry race, so that should play into the hands of Softy. But as I said, Softy's title rivals going into tonight are Cliffy, Aidan and James. James only 5th, Aidan only 11th, and Cliffy down in 13th. So it's looking very good for Softy. He needs to outscore James by 9 points, or not be outscored by Aidan by 10 points going into following America tonight. So first blood looking good for Softy, and I've got to say, Barry, it's looking very good for him.
It is. Just reading some stats now. He's had 3 poles here in the past. This is his 4th pole, and every time he's had pole, he's gone on to win. So it is looking good for him.
Looking very good for Softy. Please don't turn off now. I'm sure it'll be a lot more entertaining than we're bigging it up to be. But as the now we prepare for the Japanese Grand Prix, a real favourite of some of the drivers.
You still got to keep an eye out for the Ferrari drivers. Dan and James have also both had 4 wins each here as well. So it's going to be hopefully an exciting race.
Lots to look out for, that is for sure, as our final drivers prepare their race strategies. So here we go, the grid is now set. Goings has joined us for the race. 4 lights, 5 lights. So watch out for Softy on your right, Matt on the left. Normally gets good starts. It looks like this one's no different, but Softy may have got the better one. We can see already Matt already second place. Softy straight to the right to avoid that, and then Williams off in the background. It's Phil Bargewell, but it is Softy who keeps the lead ahead of Matt. Dan into 3rd, he's jumped Paul, James still 5th, so it looks like a disaster as we see Paul fighting down in the background for P3, but Phil Bargewell crashing out on the opening lap, coming together with someone there. Not sure if you saw what happened there, Barry.
I didn't. No, I didn't see it happen. Oh, we got a Mercedes off. Is it? No, it's a Haas. Smudge is in the gravel.
Well, Softy leads this race then from Matt. Got the start. Dan in P3, and you can see Paul right on the back of Dan here, hunting down for that third place. James and Aiden are just behind him. So we can see Paul really wants to get clear of these drivers as soon as he can. And you were right, Smudge 7 seconds back from John, so must have got off on the gravel, lost himself a bit of time.
John's got no front wing.
Oh, disaster then for the two Haas drivers.
No.
Disaster for the Haas drivers. But Softy looking good out front. 9/10 clear already of Matt, and you can see Dan and Paul right behind him. So these three really scrapping away already. Matt having to go defensive from Dan. Dan in the Ferrari did of course start P4, I believe. He's now going to try to go back into P2. Getting so close to Matt. The two of them are almost side by side. They now are side by side. Dan will have the outside, so Matt should keep it covered, you'd think. And he does. Matt for now in second position, and this gives Softy a bit of breathing space out front.
Yep, as you know, he sets the fastest lap. But Dan's got a good run, got a good exit.
Just 2 lengths back.
No.
Doesn't go for it into turn one. He'll wait for an opportunity. As I said, this section here very difficult to overtake as Matt runs wide. Dan getting so close to him. Again, this still allows Softy to pull clear. This won't help Dan's tyres either. Cars as down, the man loses it. It looks like he re-caught it there, and you can see Paul getting very scruffy in the background as he tries to keep back from James. And we've seen Owen going very wide. He's gone off the circuit. In fact, he's down to P7. He's been passed by Jack and Josh, in fact 8th now, and now down to 9th as Goings goes through as well. So Owen, the scrappy first sector there.
We've got over two title contenders. Cliffy's on the back of Aiden, going into the hairpin. Is he going to go for it?
Both these drivers on the soft tyres, and Owen, does he have damage because he's really struggling here? Aiden now all over
Josh
Owen.
And going side by side.
We've got Owen and Aiden
Josh
side by side as well for
position.
P9 and 10, keeping it so close, the three of them here. Cliffy joining the scrap too, and they come together, and Aiden's out of the race. And wow, the two cars of Owen and Aiden coming together, and Aiden looks like his title hopes are now over as he finishes his race in the barriers. And now going scrapping with Josh, the two Joshes, 7th and 8th. Which Josh will come out on top after this one. You can see Dan the man is only 3/10 back from Matt, so keep an eye out for him too. But for now, let's see if Goings, who started at the very back of the grid, can get into the top half of this race as Softy sets a new fastest lap of 1:30.7, and already cars choosing to pit this time round. DRS is now enabled. 13 lap race, already cars choosing to pit now. I thought it'd be a little later, but they all go now onto the soft tyres, I suspect.
Very early.
And Aiden, unfortunately for him, will take no further part in this one. He remains pointless, and that surely now is his title hopes over for this season. He'll be back next season, I'm sure. And it's also a disaster for Sauber, who of course now only have Paul left. Sauber just about clinging on to their constructors' hopes. And with Softy in the lead as a sector 1 yellow flag. Is that going to be a safety car?
Switches off again.
So Smudge really struggling. And that has car.
I think that's...
The tyres have already hit the cliff, but speaking of cliffs, let's go to Cliffy. P7. Can he? He's of course started at the very back as well himself with Goings. The two of them are now up to 6th and 7th, so they've moved up the order. Of course, cars have made their pit stops, so it's not all in the correct positions. You can see Jack Goings and Cliffy, the biggest mover so far.
Tyre as well. Cliffy, sorry, on the softer tyre, so he's going to be a bit further in this race.
Yeah. Here we go. Cliffy looking to hunt down Goings, and he's not quite close enough to make for a move into the final chicane here. The final chicane, of course, notorious with Formula 1 Senna and Prost. As was turn 1. Let's see if Goings can hold on here. Who's in the pits? Matt and Dan. And here we go. Cliffy sets the fastest lap up the inside of Goings. It's an easy move. He'll take it into turn 1. Look at that camera angle. The two of them are side by side. In fact, Cliffy goes wide. He runs very wide, and Goings goes back through into P4. He'll take that one. Thank you very much, Cliffy. Going wide into turn 1 there. And now Goings himself goes wide, which will allow Cliffy to close back up and potentially retake the position. The two of them incredibly close here. But Cliffy needs to get through if he wants to win this race. And John...
John's gone.
It's a nightmare.
Bad race.
Nightmare for the Haas drivers. John is out of it. P12.
Cliffy's got a good exit here. Cliffy's got a good exit. He's going to go for in the inside. No.
I thought about it. He did think about it.
Biding his time.
He's going to wait for now. Probably makes sense to. Will we see either of these runners pit? I don't expect we will. Of course, Cliffy on the soft tyres. So he will pit for the super softs around lap 7 or 8. Goings himself on the super soft, so he could well come in this time round. Cliffy and Goings is the best battle on track at the moment. Just 4 tenths between them, and Goings himself catching up with Jack. So Jack really struggling in the Renault. Will we see Jack choose to pit this time round? I suspect it depends on how Softy does, what Softy's orders are. So we'll see which of these Renault drivers come into the pit lane. Will Cliffy go for a move here? He won't. He'll be praying that the 2 cars ahead choose to pit this time round, and Jack stays out, as does Goings. So huge, a huge blow there to Cliffy.
Yeah, that is.
Jack Pearson leads this race.
Jack Pearson now takes the lead. I do believe he has a 3-second penalty as well for corner cutting.
Yeah, not the best start for Jack. He does find himself in P1, but of course he had to pit, and with a time penalty as Smudge returns to the pit lane behind James and picks up a 5-second stop go as well for speeding in the pit lane. So I repeat, it's been a shocking night for the Haas drivers.
Josh gets the fastest lap time.
Good lap from Josh, watch out for him. He's in a net P4, I believe. Net P5 even. These front 3, Cliffy, this is not helping at all. In fact, it helps Jack's teammate Softy, so maybe Jack is deliberately controlling this pace, not allowing Cliffy to take free air, but even still, Cliffy is unable to clear Goings. So we'll have to get through soon, especially these two are going to continue to stay out. Surely they'll both pit this time around. Look how much they're struggling on those super soft tyres. 5-lap worn tyres, including their qualifying set. Surely Jack Goings will pit this time around, but look at this. Cliffy will look for a move going into 130R. He goes left, Goings keeps right. The two of them are going to go side by side. That'll be a fantastic move.
Boys.
Goings chooses to run a bit wide there for some reason, but Cliffy with a good move and takes P2 ahead, and Goings hits the back of Cliffy. That is shocking. A poor move there from Goings, and that's going to be a slam dunk penalty, I'm sure. What was that about?
Yeah, he was way too late on the brakes for me. Way too late.
Very poor move there. Wow. Cliffy then finding some free space and can now start to claw back the time he feels he may have lost as Softy will take P2 in the race, and Dan ahead of Paul in 3rd.
Fastest lap for Matt, 1:30. Dead.
Good lap time there. Goings rejoins down in P9, I believe. He might even come back behind Owen. In fact, he comes out just ahead. No, he does come behind.
Owen's just got in front of him. Oh, whoa, hang on.
Well, Goings has retired from this race, so he's had an incident somewhere.
Yeah, that was, I don't know if it was a desync or glitch for me, but that was pretty bizarre. He was in the middle of a corner, his wheel just came off.
Oh, well. Classic Codemasters. Well, that's a bit of an unusual one then. Let's go back to the front. We can see now Softy 8 seconds back from Cliffy, who is yet to pit on the soft tyres. Paul himself on the soft tyres. Of course, these runners having made their stops. So Paul looking for a podium, 9 tenths behind Dan. In fact, Paul would be in a current net P3, but Cliffy, I'm sure, will come back at him with the faster tyres in the closing stages of this race. So can Paul get back to the form that he's so used to? He had a good start to the season, a really strong start, picking up a win as well in Canada. But since then, last few weeks haven't gone too well for him. 3 DNFs from the last 5 races. Not what he or Sauber needed. Sauber had at one point a 65-point lead in the Constructors' race. Now they find themselves 65 points back. So a swing there for 130 points. Sauber have lost it these last few weeks. Looking to reclaim it now, but unfortunately with Aiden's DNF, it looks only to be getting worse for the Alfa Romeo team. Any battles you see on track, Cliffy? Sorry, Bazza.
Closest one at the moment is Paul and Dan, but it's a 1.1 at the moment. That's the close. Sorry, no, I say that. Josh is closing in on James, coming into the hairpin. Just 7 tenths off.
Let's see if Josh can get past James. James normally goes for the ultimate strategy, chose not to here, which is of course very rare for James. James finds himself in second place in the championship, which I don't think he thought going into this season, despite his win in Bahrain, which was a fantastic race. I'm not sure he would have believed to be at the front as he was. But here he is, second place in the championship, and of course can't be outscored by Softy by 9 points. But
Cliffy
at the moment,
box.
looking very lightly. Cliffy does indeed pit, so we'll see where he comes out, where he rejoins. It's going to be crucial. Will he be behind or ahead of James and Josh? Josh looking for a move at the inside of the chicane. But unfortunately, can't make it through there. Can he get now into turn 1? Where does Cliffy rejoin? Will Cliffy dive out the pit lane here? It'll be a bit of a shock to James and Josh if he does.
Oh, it's gonna...
He doesn't. So James and Josh continue to go side by side into turn 1.
Josh is gonna go around the outside.
Josh goes a little wide.
He's gone a bit wide.
And James keeps the position for now. Cliffy rejoins in P7, 2 seconds back, so he'll be looking for I think the podium's probably a bit too much of a stretch for him. But if you can get some good lap times and clear the 2 ahead, it is still all to play for. But Josh and James, this is the battle to watch as James loses the car a little bit there, loses the back end, catches it again. That won't help in his attack of the Ferrari of James. Ferrari themselves looking good to take some good constructors points. They'll jump Sauber with 5 races to go. Dan the Man calling on for 18, James on for 10, so 28 points. They'll lose ground to Renault.
All over the back of Josh already. Cliffy on the fresh
Indeed he is.
tyres.
Cliffy's flying on those tyres. He'll want to get through as soon as he can. Can he get through here? It'll be tricky. He'll go into the spoon. Surely not. He waits for his opportunity. You can see how much faster he is at that McLaren. Look at the speed difference. You can see already pushing him round the corner.
Gonna get him.
Short into 130R this time. He's already tried to move with Cliffy round here with goings, but Josh won't be much of a problem for him. He goes through and takes P6. Now he'll look to defend. Can Josh go back at him at the chicane? He can't. Probably thought better of it, and Cliffy now looks to hunt down James to take P5. This is a real tense battle to see where Cliffy can get to in this final race position. Surely he's not close enough for a move into turn 1.
With 4 laps to go, he's got a shout at 4th. He's not that far behind Matt as well. Matt's
in fact, James lets him through. James chooses not to race Cliffy. Probably thinks better of it. He's got a race of his own with Josh. So he actually pulls out of the way of Cliffy, not holding up too much, not holding his own race up. And now Cliffy has 5 seconds to gain on Matt in the closing 5 laps of this race. But Softy looking good out front, 3 seconds clear of Dan with Paul 3rd. And then of course Matt now in 4th, looking to hang on to that position ahead of Cliffy as Josh hunts down James for P6.
Jack's got another penalty.
That's his 2nd of the afternoon. So 6 seconds will be applied to his race time. Smudge though, 16 seconds back. I don't think that'll be a problem for Jack. Jack looking good to score some points at least for the Renault team, which Softy will be pleased about. Let's see how Dan can get on in P2. Surely he's safe there. I don't think Cliffy will be a threat to him. In fact, Cliffy's taking 2 seconds out of Matt this lap already. He's flying, and Josh looking to now get the moves on James, going into 130R. Surely not.
He's gonna go. Oh,
no, and they've crashed, and James is in the wall. I don't believe it. Josh hit the back of James's car. James got spun round, and into the barrier he goes. James has managed to keep going, but I think he's got no front wing, and he will have to box for a new front wing, and he'll go on to those super soft tyres. Disaster there for James.
Josh needed to lift off ever so slightly and go for it in a hairpin. Tough one, that. Tough one.
A real messy night for the drivers here.
Cliffy set a lap time of 129.3. I believe that's 7/10 quicker than anyone else.
Cliffy flying on these tyres. It's a shame to see him start so far down the grid. Would have been nice to see him start out the front and give Softy a real fight.
He's going to be all over the back of Matt. We got a yellow flag in sector 1. I think that was Smudge going a bit wide.
That Smudge is out of the race.
Smudge is gone.
Well, Softy looking pretty safe in first. Paul has closed the gap to Dan, down to 1.6 seconds now. Matt in fourth. Cliffy now 1.5 behind him, so he is really hunting him down. And Josh looking safe in sixth after that incident with James. James now unfortunately down in P9, which is not what Ferrari needed. They will jump Sauber, but they won't close any distance on Renault. Softy and Jack looking very good for the constructors. Softy looking very good himself for the driver's title, but the fight to watch at the moment is P4 and P5, and if Cliffy can get past Matt this lap, potentially the end of it, he'll have 2 laps to hunt down about 2 seconds on Paul. Maybe a podium is still in it, but is that too much to ask for, Bassett?
Yeah, I think it's too much for a podium. He's pushed really quickly on these super softs, and you've seen some of the guys were pitting on lap 3 at the beginning of the race, so he might be using all the life in them tyres already.
Indeed, that's a very good point. He's now just 6/10 back. Matt, you can see Paul just ahead of him, so Paul is in danger himself, and Paul's only a second and a half back from Dan. So soon we'll see Dan in the same shot as Cliffy. Cliffy hunting down Matt. The gap is less than 6/10 of a second. He now will look to get a move, possibly into 130R. We've seen some good clean battles between Matt and Cliffy this season. Will we see another one, another final overtake going into the chicane or 130R? The gap is 4/10. We should see a move here. Cliffy will want to get through as soon as he can. A podium is up for grabs. Will he go for the inside? He chooses to wait for now. You can see Paul just a second clear of Matt. Paul starting to struggle himself on those soft tyres. And Cliffy, if he can get a move done here into turn 1, Matt tries to block the slipstream, but Cliffy with the extra boost of hers and DRS, it's an easy move, and he goes through into the position into turn 1. Great move there, Basil.
That was a good move, good move. This, I thought Matt would have had DRS myself off Paul, but I don't think he was close enough. So now Cliffy goes hunting Paul, and my prediction could be wrong again.
Well, it's not often that Basil gets a prediction wrong, but
look at the speed.
He's already 2/10 off Paul. I thought he would close him right at the end of the race, and yeah, you are going to be wrong. It looks like Paul is going to be a sitting duck for Cliffy here. Will he make a move up the... Maybe second place is up for grabs as well. Dan's 2.6 clear of Paul, but I mean the speed that Cliffy's flying at, the speed he just closed up on Paul the lap before, maybe it's not necessarily a done deal for Dan. Dan, surely Basil is too far ahead. It depends though.
I'm not saying anything. But yeah, I think he's going to get Paul. If not here on the pit straight, surely he should get him though.
You can see Matt sitting behind as well. Matt's stuck with these two. Can we see a move here from Cliffy on Paul into the chicane? The drivers start their final lap. Softy now on his final lap to the end. Dan the man 5 seconds back. He won't be a threat to Softy. Softy looking good for another race victory this season. Can we see the same story going into turn 1? Will Cliffy... You can see Matt as well on the back of Cliffy. Can Cliffy get clear of Paul going into turn 1? Round the outside possibly. Or the inside of the following corner. He can't. Paul goes wide himself though. Better traction for Cliffy. Almost gets through the following chance. But Paul for now holds on. Cliffy knows he's got other opportunities around the circuit. There's the hairpin to come. There's the final... Oh, and Paul loses it. The back end goes and he just about holds on to P3. He must be sweating himself there, Barry.
He is sliding all over the place. I think Matt's just sitting behind here and waiting for something to happen.
We saw Cliffy and Jack have a little incident on the last lap at Singapore, which allowed James to go through on the pair of them, go from P5 to P3 in the final lap, in the final sector, to take a shot podium. Will we see a similar thing here? You can see how much quicker he is. Cliffy, and look at that, all over Paul's DRS, right behind his rear wing. Paul, in fact, Paul's a little clearer here, so maybe Paul's using his ERS carefully. Maybe he stayed it for the final sector. Softy, let us know when he's coming to the final corner, Bassett. He's going to win the race, but it's all about Paul and Cliffy here for P3.
Yep. Cliffy needs to go for it now. It's into the chicane. That's his last opportunity.
He's going to try the outside at 130R. Softy is going to win the race. Dan will take second, but will Cliffy have one final move into the hairpin? That's not the angle we want to see. Paul's kept it. Paul keeps P3. Unless Cliffy can get a run, and look at how close he is. But Paul should take it. Paul takes the podium, and Cliffy will stand up for P4. Matt P5, 2/10 between third to fourth at the end there. Fantastic racing.
Wow, what a finish between them three. As Josh wins it at the end. Let's cross the line. Owen will take P7. Jack is just coming into the chicane now. Will he hold on to P8? I'm not sure. He had a couple of penalties. And he's had another penalty for an unserved stop and go. And I believe James has taken that position. He has. James takes P8. Jack, last of the runners, in P9.
And Smudge finishes P10, running out that top 10. So Softy on the top step of that podium. We've seen that a few times this season. The car number 99, great points for both his championship hopes. Will we see now a title decided at the next race? Win number 41 in his career, just one behind John Luke Taylor, who sits in P4 on the all-time list. A fantastic day for Softy. Now let's see if the championship can be sealed in the United States. So then the results. James O'Connor did get P8 from Jack at the end there. Unserved penalties for Jack, dropping him down to P9. But it is Softy, Dan and Paul, your podium. Paul returns to the podium. A fantastic result for Dan. Had a great qualifying P3. And gains a place to take second place overall. Matt did drop to 5th in the end from the front row. But Cliffy recovered well for 4th. Josh 6th. Of course, an incident there with James late on in the race. Could we see a steward's inquiry into that one? Owen takes P7 from 6th on the grid, and Jack, Smudge rounding out the top 10. Goings, John, Aidan and Phil all failing to finish that race. So attentions now turn to United States, round 18 of TGP1 season 30.
Yeah, driver of the day for me in that race was definitely Cliffy, starting at the back of the grid.
He did have a fantastic recovery from the back of the grid. The driver's reaction. Josh unfortunately apologises to James, claims it was a desync issue which caused the crash at 130R. And Jack Pearson has congratulated his teammate on the driver's title, even though it's not actually been sealed yet. So congratulations to Softy, although he's not won it yet, but there you go. I'm not sure we've seen a driver being crowned champion before he's been crowned champion, Barry, but here we go.
Right, so heading off to Circuit of the Americas. Decent track this. One of my favourites. Will we get any safety cars or any wet running in this?
Hopefully a bit of rain to spice up the race would be nice. Looking forward to this one. And Goings.
Just looking at, well, I haven't really got much stats on this race because I did think it was Mexico, to be honest. But I believe it was Softy who actually won here last season, season 29. So again, championship leader, could be crowned champion. This race is possibly the driver to watch again.
Got to keep an eye out for Softy, and of course, as I said, the title can now be decided. Softy needed to outscore James by 9 points tonight. He had to be 9 points further clear, and in that race alone he's taken 20 points out of him. So James now has to finish 11 points clear of Softy, or the title race will be decided. Aidan himself is now out of the running, and Cliffy unfortunately too far back. So it is between James and Softy, and James must score 11 points more than Softy, or the championship will be decided at the United States. Bazza, what are the odds of that happening?
Unless Softy has a disaster, I think he's going to win it here tonight. He's out of the last I think it's 6 races I've commented on. He's been on form. He's not put a wheel wrong, really. But constructors, Softy really needs his teammates to help out because the Ferraris are looking good with both drivers. Been doing well in the last few races as well, so Ferrari have got a shot hopefully at the constructors as well.
Well, here we go. We are at qualifying for the United States Grand Prix. As you said, looking good for Softy and Renault. Can Softy take what would be a remarkable third driver's title? Going through the list of who's won what, James O'Connor himself has 6 drivers' titles. Dan has 4. Both of them still racing today, even though they're not won their most recent titles in ages. Ben Alesi has 3 titles to his name, and he'll be joined by Softy, most likely this time out. Softy, you've got to say, he's deserved the title if he wins it, Barry, hasn't he?
He has, yeah, he has.
It's going to be really interesting to watch how it unfolds, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think that Japan, was that his 9th win of the season?
I believe it was, yes.
Yeah, if my brain's working right. I'm not entirely sure how many poles he's had, but the poles that he's had in the last few races, he's always just gone on to win. And his main rival really has been Cliffy in the last few races. With Cliffy starting at the back in Japan, it made that race pretty easy for Softy to go out and win it.
In fact, Softy, he's had 9 poles this season, but only had 6 wins. Victories at Monaco, France, Austria, Hungary, Belgium, and now Japan. So 17 rounds down, he's only won 6 of them. Yet finds himself with such a lead, a 100-point advantage in the championship. And with 4 races to go after this one, it's looking very good for him to clinch the title here, unless James can pull off a masterstroke, take the win, and hope Softy is no higher than P4. So it's looking very difficult for James to prevent the party. The party bus will be going around the Americas, I'm sure. What alcohol do you think Softy drinks, Baz? Do you think he's a beer guy? Do you think he's a cider guy? Do you think he's more of a water, fruit juice kind of guy?
Well, it depends what part of the country he's from, really, isn't it?
I think he's from, it's N something, is it Northampton, or is it Nottingham? I think it's Nottingham. It's Nottingham.
Oh, Nottingham.
What drinks do they drink in Nottingham?
Oh, I'm not entirely sure, but probably bitter, maybe ale.
Oh, they are a bit bitter in Nottingham. Maybe.
Yeah.
Well, I am currently Googling it. What drinks do you drink in Nottingham? Let's see what Google says. Apparently soft drinks and smoothies are a go-to drink in Nottingham. Also, get this, Barry, Fever Tree light ginger beer. Not heard of that before. Have you? Is that something you tried in your lifetime?
I tried ginger beer. I don't like the stuff.
Well, apparently it's only got 0.07% alcohol. That is not a lot of alcohol, Barry. So...
No, it's not. You probably get more alcohol in a shandy.
I think that is the case. So there you go. If you're from Nottingham, please do get in touch. But it looks like smoothies and ginger beer are your go-to drinks. Wow, there you go. Of course, since last week, a lot's happened in the world, Barry. I'm a celebrity. Of course, Noel Edmonds entered the jungle.
Yes.
What do you make of Noel Edmonds?
He's a big character. A bit. I noticed when he went in, him and John Barrowman didn't really click, did they? John Barrowman, he's a big character, outspoken guy. Noel Edmonds is kind of the same. So maybe further down the line, they might clash a bit more.
Yeah, 2 big characters in the jungle. I've got to say, I am looking forward to seeing how that develops. But I believe the first public vote is next week. Who's going to be first to go, Baz? I think it's going to be one of the lesser characters. Like, is it Sarah? I don't know if you're watching it a lot, but I think she might be the first one to go.
For me, it's between her and the Hollyoaks guy. Is it Malik? I'm not sure of his name.
That's him. Something like that.
Yeah.
Well, for sure, I'll be tuning in at 9 PM tonight. And in fact, while we've been battling on, cars have actually been setting lap times, so let's check them out. Jack Pearson with a 1:31.4, currently provisional pole, 2/10 clear of Josh. Barry, I know you want to talk about Amasland, but unfortunately, we have got a job to do here. So pipe down.
Yes.
Let's get back to the
You're
action.
getting stick in the comments otherwise.
Yeah, we don't want that. We do not want to be getting stick in the comments. Anyway, let's see who is on the lap at the moment.
Aiden is set a lap time 1:31.8 on the Super Softs. So he's the highest runner on the slower compound, whereas Softy is also on the Super Softs, but he is only set at 1:32.3.
Phil Bargel backed off on his lap there, so choosing to go for a better run, I think, on a different set of tyres next time round. He goes, that's a 1:34.4. Backed off, lost about 2 seconds at the very end. So probably felt he wasn't going to set a lap time good enough, to which he wanted to start tyres for the race on. So we see Owen in the Force India. Oh, there's a throwing off in the background. Is that Dan or is that James? It must be Dan. I'm not surprised. Dan the man flies off in the background. Even when we're not on board with Dan, we still see Dan fly off. So Dan the man getting his TV time once again, flying off there at the United States, looking to keep up his good consistent run at the moment. Of course, P2 last time out. In Japan and America, I believe, is a circuit that suits him. In fact, I think he might have won here the most, Barry. Do you have your stats with you?
I'm not sure on that one. I had to rush my stats with this one because I thought it was Mexico tonight.
Oh, Barry.
Yeah,
Got your tracks wrong. Unbelievable. Well, I can tell you that the most wins at this circuit are, in fact, Dean and Johners. Both have 3 wins each here. So, of course, Dean and John not with us this season. Johners is out with a friend. Say no more, say no more. Dean, I don't know what he's doing. I'm sure he's also out with a friend these days. Right. Owen, Phil, Smudge, Cliffy and James are all out on circuit. James sets a 1:37.2, so himself backing off. Let's see where Cliffy can go. Cliffy's all over the place. Really struggling through this twisty section of corners. And he backs off, so maybe he felt he messed that up too much, lost too much time. And he will now return back to the pits or go again. So let's see who out there are on respective lap times. You can see James, I believe, returning to the pits. Smudge also returning to the pits, pulls out of the way of the McLaren, which means Josh himself must be setting up for one. And as you said, 2GP2 tomorrow, Barry. This is a circuit that you said you struggle at, was it? Or you expect to do well at tomorrow?
I'm fingers crossed. I'm expecting to go well here tomorrow. It's one of my favourite tracks. I think Japan will be the one where I'll struggle. Mathematically, I'm not out of the championship, but I feel I've got a mountain to climb.
Well, TGP2 should be an interesting one to watch tomorrow, that is for sure. Going to be pretty tense. We've got a real close title fight. I think CJ and Luca are the ones to watch, but of course, in the distance are myself, yourself, and Joe and Erlen. So 6 drivers still with a realistic chance of winning the title with 6 rounds to go. So be sure to tune into that tomorrow with Owen and John back in commentary. So, Josh, about to start his lap, I believe. You can see good clear distance from the car ahead of him. So shouldn't get any issues as he starts his lap now. Currently in P2, and only Jack ahead of him. Jack P1 at the moment. Surely won't see that. This is the track Softy says he struggles at. Softy is currently P7, but I suspect Softy to set a quicker lap time in the latter part of this qualifying. So who's your money on Basil to take pole this time around in America? Bearing in mind that Softy says this is the track he struggles at.
Well, Softy and Aiden have still got ultra softs available. With Aiden only being 4 temps off, and where is he on track? He has gone out now on the ultra softs, so he might potentially be one to watch for pole position. As
Aiden currently
putting on a bit of a show for us here. All 3 of them side by side.
Who's this? Who's this?
I believe it's Jack Pearson,
Well,
Owen, and Aiden.
Jack,
down
Owen and
back
Aiden giving the fans a formation, showing the American fans how they do it here in America. I hope they don't block anyone on the lap, because the 3 of them in formation, maybe celebrating Rebel Kim's Platinum Trophy that he set A few weeks back. Maybe that's what they're celebrating. As Owen, Jack, and Aiden now split up and prepare to start their second lap times. Owen currently P4. In fact, the three of them are first, third and fourth at the moment, all probably blocking the track so no one else behind can improve. They'll all be very happy with those lap times and those current positions, and Josh, as we left him, has now gone quickest by a tenth. So a good lap there from Josh, a 1:31.3. And now let's see how the drivers improve. Softy, is he on a lap at the moment?
He is indeed, and he's into the final sector.
The final sector, so we shouldn't catch the three cars ahead. They've all now started their lap times. You can see Aiden just ahead starting his, and Softy in fact comes into the pit lane. So he's chose not to complete that one, and he returns back to the garage. So, who out there is currently on a lap? Dan the man. This is the corner, he got it so wrong before. I think he's actually starting a lap. So, shouldn't make any two issues here. As Matt goes quickest at 1:30.7, 6 tenths clear of Josh. A fantastic run from him. And we can see John in the has. He'll be one to set a lap time. Owen, we know, on a lap 2. Got to keep an eye out for him and Jack and Aiden, the three of them pretty close together. You can see Jack there in the background. These three will be the next three to cross the line. I think Owen has actually abandoned his lap.
Yeah, Owen's abandoned.
Let's see if Jack can steal a toe from the Force India now. If he can get close enough. Yellow flags in all three sectors. As Jack takes the slipstream, will try not to go wide to this corner. Jack looking to respond to Matt's 1:30.7. He's got 7 tenths to gain. This is the track Jack has done well at in the past. So it's at the moment very close, very open. Softy, who you'd expect to be at the front, down in P9. Cliffy in P13. So the big names all currently at the back. Goings, of course, with a disastrous qualifying, binning it at the very start.
Oh, Jack's run a bit wide there.
Can Jack respond to Matt's time? Or at least go ahead of Josh into second? He crosses the line and does go second. He's a 10th clear of Josh, but still some way back from Matt. Aiden's next across the line. In fact, he went 4th, I think, or he's about to start one now. Maybe he's abandoned that lap and going again. Looks to be going very fast into turn 1. He goes very wide though. And unfortunately, that'll be his run over Owen back in the pit lane. John also returned to the pits, and down the man. Can he get this neat and tidy round the final corner? Crosses the line. Does he improve on 7? He goes P5. So he does find time. And Softy looking to go again on the super soft. I think his lap time was on the super softs. Reporting some issue with his throttle pedal on his steering wheel. So Softy currently in the garage trying to fix that one. So Softy, could we see him start this talent deciding race further down than he would have liked? And is this a track you can overtake easily at, Barry?
Say again, sorry.
Oh, formation again. Jack and Aiden are going side by side.
Oh.
Potentially future teammates, has been rumoured these last couple of weeks. And maybe this is proof that these two are indeed planning to get in Softy's bed, kicking him out, and sleeping with each other. So, Aiden and Jack, I believe they're looking to go to Red Bull next season. It's a team that Jack's started to warm to in recent weeks. Do you think a car makes a big difference, Barry? Do you think they're all the same and it's just about liveries?
Liveries, really. Yeah.
Well, for me, when I pick a car, I choose whatever looks nicest, and I do like the Alfa Romeo, I have to say. That is a favourite of mine.
Yeah, it's the engine sound as well. I do like the Red Bull.
Well, Smudge crosses the line, does improve on 10th. He does improve his time, but doesn't improve his position. So now he stays 10th. His teammate currently up in P7. So the Haas driver's starting to warm to this car. Starting to find themselves a little higher up than last week, as Phil only goes P9. But he is on, I believe, the super soft tyres he was. Will he have time to get back to the garage? It's going to be very tight if he does. In fact, I don't think he will he? I don't think he will. No, that'll be his last lap then. Unless he's going again on these tyres. But Phil, currently P9, and about to start the race on the super softs. So, Paul McGee will be the first
It's
then.
called it a day.
Paul will be the first of these runners to set their final laps. Paul choosing to go out on the... Is it the Hypersoft tyre or the Ultrasoft tyre? I think it's the Ultrasoft, isn't it?
I don't know if you just got that from Race Control. Cliffy has got a 5 grid drop for causing a collision with Phil.
Well, Phil in fact has actually retired from the session, so I assume it's yet another, that's right, get your score sheets out, another glitch for Codemasters. Phil Bargewell's car has actually, it shouldn't be there, but apparently it is, because Cliffy has hit the back of it, and once again for Cliffy, it's going so wrong at the end of this season for him. He has the pace to be at the front, but for whatever reason, it doesn't seem to be working in qualifying. The 18 minutes doesn't seem to be giving him enough time to get at the front for whatever reason. So Cliffy, currently P13, and with the grid drop, maybe he won't bother setting a lap time. Maybe he'll just settle for the start of the back and go for the alternate strategy. It's going to be a difficult race for him now. But look at that. 6 different teams currently in the top 6. We've got a Red Bull, Renault, McLaren, Sauber.
He may have hit him, you know. I've just seen he's got wing damage. Cliffy's back in the pits.
So it looks like Cliffy may have hit Phil's ghost vehicle, I guess, or AI vehicle. There's Paul around the final corner. Can he improve on his lap time? He'll want to go up there. He only goes P6 though. A 1:31.6 is only P6 for Paul. He would have wanted better. It's a very tight at midfield, second down to 6th. Separated by only a few tenths. Matt at the moment looking very good for pole position. So let's now turn our attention to the drivers starting their final laps. Owen, is he about? I think he's about to start one. Owen's about to start his lap time. So keep an eye out for him. Who should we want to watch? John, round the final couple of corners. In fact, Cliffy has chosen to retire, so Cliffy will start at the back of the grid with Goings for the second race in a row. John crosses the line and goes P6, a fantastic lap from him. And now, let's turn our attentions to Softy. This is going to be the man to be. He has now gone for the ultra soft tyres. So, let's see if he can get his car back to the front. He struggled with a throttle issue earlier in the qualifying. But now the Renault driver looking to get back to the front of the grid in the final lap. As he locks up, makes a mistake, Smudge retires, he'll start no higher than 11th. So James and Softy really in trouble at the moment.
Jack's just under 2 tenths up in sector 2.
That'll be interesting one to watch. Then
Sector 1, should I say? No, where am I? Oh,
he used to gain 5
second.
tenths. He used to gain 5 tenths on Matt Jack, so interesting to see where he goes. As Softy looks to keep out of the way, he locks up again. Softy really struggling here with the braking. He locks up for the second time this lap, but will that prove costly? Paul will improve no higher than 7th. No other drivers now will get round to start another lap time in time. Where can Softy put his Renault? Can he take all? In fact, he bails on his lap. He will start no higher than P10. And Softy, the man hunting for the title, is going to start 10th at the moment. But James, his rival, is going to start no higher than P12.
Owen goes second.
Owen goes second, 4 tenths back from Matt. Is this finally Owen's chance to win a race in TGP1? He has the record for most podiums without a win, 19. James on a lap. Where is Jack? Jack coming round the final sector now, really scruffy. Can he put his Renault out of the front in place of Softy? He goes very wide, very scruffy again. Loses the back end, would have lost a bit of time there. And he's gone way off, and that's going to be a lap over for him. And Softy, who's messaged me, which means we now can't see the time on the screen.
Cross the line.
Owen, Yaden goes second. Great lap from him, so we go back now to Dan and James, the 2 remaining Ferrari drivers. Where does James go? He goes P3. So he goes into 3rd. It's now left to Dan. Softy has chosen to do a strategy call. He's chosen to do the alternate strategy, so he'll start P11 on the alternate tyres and will look to win from further down, which should give us a very tasty race. But now Dan.
Oh, Matt
goes even quicker.
By 2 tenths.
Fantastic lap from Matt. Let's see if Dan can get to the end of this lap and put himself back into the top order. Currently starting on the 4th row of the grid. Currently P7. He crosses line. Where did he go? He went P2. Down the man, wow. P2. What a run from him. But Matt does take pole position and Dan will start alongside him. Wow, what a qualifier. What an upside down grid we've got here, Barry.
We have indeed. Softy's way down. So yeah, it was all change, but nobody could get close to Matt. But Dan was the closest in the end, just just under 4 tenths off.
Well, Matt's only finished on the podium twice this season. That's his first pole of the season. And now he'll be looking to get his first win of the season, as will Dan and Aiden in behind. So this should be a tasty race. None of the front three have won a race yet this year. In fact, only fourth has from the top 8. So, all the drivers we expect to see at the front starting at the back. And of course Cliffy, dead last with a 5-place grid drop.
Yep. And with Softy starting in 11th, it'll be interesting to see what Dan does. If he'll play the team game and help his teammate James get up the order. Because James needs a good result here to keep the championship going.
Yeah. Should be an exciting race, that's for sure. An upside down grid, absolutely love that. Strategy wise, expect the front runners to go from ultra soft to super soft, and then the alternate for the drivers starting down the grid. So who's your money on, Barry?
You always ask me this and I always get it wrong.
Well, this might be the one.
Let's go Aiden.
Going Aiden. Aiden has only won once in TGP1 before, Singapore, several seasons ago. Found himself with a streak of second place finishes earlier in the year, but unable to get that win. So then, who's going to be the winner in America? Will we see a Ferrari top spot as we did in the real Formula 1? Matt gets off the grid very well. Dan the man in second. You can already see the Renault of Jack Pearson getting up the inside of James, and Dan looking for a move on Matt, but he won't get it done there. Aiden runs wide, tries to keep out of trouble, and you can see in the background Paul already facing the wrong way.
Contact.
Softy with a bit of contact then, currently in P11, so he is where he started. But the perfect start for Matt. Dan second, Aiden third, Jack fourth. The McLaren choosing to avoid some trouble there by going off. That's Josh. But Softy in P11 and potentially with a bit of damage, not the start he was looking for. Cliffy already into P9. Fantastic for him. Aiden then looking to get ahead of Dan. The front four is how they started. And we've got, you can see James has overtaken Jack for P4, so Jack and James going at it. Of course, fine for the Constructors' title, these two. Jack pulls to the inside, so we can see all these cars so tightly matched here. Smudge himself is about to make a move on Softy in the background. Watch out for that. Can we see James and Jack go battle here?
Down the inside. James, slight
contact,
but
and forces James off the road almost there. But James back
James
at it and back ahead. James back into position.
Tired. Virtual safety car.
The virtual safety car is being deployed. Will we see now the guys at the front choosing to make a pit stop? Is it too early to go and make their stop to the super soft tyres? 13 laps on those tyres are going to be very tight, but will we see anyone go for it? Softy, Paul going Smudge. I don't think we'll see Softy use the opportunity this time around, and Jack getting his VSC wrong. All wrong there. None of the top 5 are choosing to pit. In fact, none of the runners are. Oh, they do. James and Jack with a late call. And those two are going to go on the super soft tyres, maybe even the softs, and go to the end. So let's see what these two then, what tyres do they go for? James, position, he's in first, he goes on the super softs. How about Jack? Jack goes on the soft tyres, so different strategies. One feeling the tyres will make the end. And does Jack have a penalty here? He's being held. In fact, no, it was a bit of lag, so get that score sheet out again. Another Codemasters error in this game. 4 drivers choosing to pit Paul. And the VSC has, again. Yeah, the VSC has ended just at the right time for those that pitted. They wouldn't last that much time, so James, Jack,
Aiden's
Aiden
got
going.
A good run on Dan now.
Let's see if the Sauber can get through here. DRS won't be enabled just yet, but you can see Aiden really pushing Dan here. All these drivers have a very good chance of taking their first wins. We've got Cliffy looking to make a move on John in the background. Softy himself looking to make a move on Cliffy. But this is the battle for now. For P2, it's Dan and Aiden. Aiden will go for the inside. You can see in the background the battles further down. Softy's looking for a move too on... In fact, Cliffy's got ahead of Softy, I think. And you can see Aiden into P2. Just ahead of Dan. Didn't want to see a Vettel Ricardo type
Great
instant
driving,
there.
boys. Great driving. Dan's going to go back down the inside.
Fantastic racing. He hits the bollards, takes it off with him, but takes the position. Softy into P6. He's taken 3 places on that corner. A fantastic run for him. And of course, on the alternate strategy. So Softy very much one to watch. Aiden still finds himself behind Dan. And is this allowing Matt to get the space he needs to start to do something. As look at that, Aiden almost pushing down around the corner. Matt with a fastest lap. Of course, VSC infected though, so we'll see that lap time come down in a bit very shortly.
Sets the fastest lap now.
Aiden up the inside, goes up the inside down. The two of them are getting so close, but for now, still side by side, still no contact. And can Dan keep ahead of Aiden? It's so close between the two of them. Fantastic racing through this twist. This does not go too wide here.
No, not through the S's, boys.
Not through the S's. Look at that, all having to avoid each other to avoid an incident. And Aiden now looks to get the run on Dan, and in fact might even go through. He cuts back to the right, which will then be the left for the following corner. You can see in the background Owen and Josh having their own scrap.
Owen and Josh are side by side.
Action throughout the field, and you can see up the inside of Josh.
Owen's
Breaks
gonna
very
go
late
down
and
the
hits
inside.
the
He's
side of
hit
Aiden. And now Josh goes through on the pair of them, and Softy now could take all three of them. Softy from P6 could go P3 at this corner. Look at this, the four of them are so close, and even then only Dan's just ahead of these three. Softy, if he can keep the inside line, could take all three of them. Chooses not to. Aiden gets his braking point wrong, goes wide. And Aiden goes off, dropping himself into P9 in fact now. So very messy there for Aiden. Look at this, Owen and Josh still side by side. Softy still waiting for his move. Matt has now gotten 5 seconds clear of Dan. Owen, look at this, really struggling on those tyres. Softy looking to go around the outside of the pair of them. Both of them go a little wide, and Softy with a fantastic move. Three of them side by side. Will Softy choose to keep out of this one? He runs wide. There's still somehow no contact between these three. And amazingly, Softy almost took two of them. Didn't quite do it and still sits P5, but he'll have another chance here. Josh now is DRS himself. Look at the speed, that difference the McLaren's got. The McLaren. Owen's going to be raved going into turn 1. Owen cuts to the inside. Doesn't want to allow that opportunity to stay. Softy almost getting close to Josh, and Josh, look at that traction all over the back of Owen, and for the second time today, Josh has spun a car around for getting too close. And Owen now facing the wrong way down into P8. Wow. What do you make of that one?
Wow, that was exciting, wasn't it?
Pretty tense, pretty tense.
All that action, and Cliffy is right on the back of Softy now.
Let's see if Softy can get ahead of Josh here. Josh in the wars this evening. Not the best night for him in that McLaren. Getting close to James, and now Owen this time round. Owen is rejoined in P8, just a second off John, who is looking to fight his teammates. So the battle of the Has drivers. One to watch. Softy takes P3. Ahead of Josh, who goes back at it, goes up the inside, but can't make that work. Softy will have the better exit and will keep the position. Cliffy looking to take it himself. Matt's lead is now incredibly up to 6 seconds. We'll see another dive bomb here from Josh. He's going for every move possible tonight.
With all these three battling, the two Haas drivers, they're slowly catching up to them. They're in a battle of their own as well.
And here they are, and Matt has chosen to pit.
The leader pits.
I suspect the Superstar tyres.
James.
Josh
Dan
does as well, which means Softy.
Dan lost the back end going into the pits then.
Oh dear. Softy now, Softy and Cliffy, both of them, who started on the soft tyres. In fact, no, Softy started on the ultra soft tyres. I thought he was on the soft, so he's not doing the ultimate strategy. So then Cliffy, in a very good position, right behind Softy. He'll be pitting a little later as well. And we'll have the fresher rubber at the end of the race, but of course track position is everything. Cliffy really struggling. His tyres starting to hit the cliff now. And where has Matt rejoined?
Dan's come out of the pits, side by side with Jack into turn 1. Dan takes the position.
And the two Has drivers are also fighting for P3 and P4. John and Smudge, the two brothers, looking to take what is a temporary place on the podium. John for now has the edge. Had the better qualifying, and for now holds the position in the race. But will we see Smudge now with Urs? In fact, not a lot of Urs left. You can see on the steering wheel, DRS infected. Nice steering there, nice wheel in the background there. But this is what we want to see. The two Has drivers. John defends the inside. Smudge will try the outside. John brakes later. Smudge very close. The two of them as John goes wide. Smudge up the inside. Good clean racing. And for now, Smudge takes the position. But can John
American fans
back up the inside again? This is brilliant. The two Has drivers putting on a show in front of their home crowd, and Smudge takes P3, costing themselves time, I'm sure, but great show, great battle to see. And the Has drivers proving to be good racers. Will even them pit this time round? I think
pits.
Softy pits in the lead. John also chooses to pit, so interesting to see now where Softy rejoins. He'll pit for the super soft tyres. Will he come out ahead or behind of Dan? Did an additional lap. Dan, of course, came out with Jack, and again, get ready for the jump cut. There you go. It's gone. The Renault rejoins. I don't know where it's gone. We're looking at the garage. Now we're back on it. Is he going to be behind or ahead of his teammate? It's behind.
He's going to be behind.
Well, I'm sure Jack isn't going to hold Softy up for much longer. He'll get to the straight, and I'm sure allow his teammate through. Jack already doing it, going grass cutting, and Softy takes the position. Now Softy, of course, the net leader is Matt, and Matt now only 3 seconds clear of James, who's 4 seconds ahead of Dan. So Softy's about 9 to 10 seconds back from Matt. Can we see Softy claw back 10 seconds of Matt, or do you think Matt's looking good for his first race win of the season, Barry?
Matt should, he should get it. He should get it, but me, curse the commentators. I said Aiden would win, and now Aiden's out of it. He's going to hate me for that.
Indeed.
But yeah, with the gap, but James, you know, he wants to keep this title alive, so he's going to be pushing to catch Matt. So it might not be over yet.
Owen takes P10 from John. A good move up the inside, recovering his race after the incident earlier on between him and Josh. Matt looking to now clear Smudge, who does in fact pit, and you can see Matt in fact lapses teammate to take over at the front, but Cliffy holds a 6-second advantage. James now, of course, into what is a net P2, and James has to outscore Softy by 11 points, or Softy himself will be champion. At the moment, of course, James is only going to gain 5 points, so the title will go to Softy as things stand. Got to keep an eye out for that one. But if Cliffy could potentially jump Softy, and Josh and Jack as well, then the title race could be going on to next week at Mexico. But it's looking very good for Softy at the moment, Barry.
It is. Because yeah, Cliffy still has to pit, and he potentially may come out with Josh, or just behind Josh. Oh, we've got
Jack's had an incident in the Renault. He's had a spin somewhere. He's lost that car, and now you can see Smudge closing on behind him. Oh, Dan's lost it. Jack's lost it again. Jack has lost it again. He's really struggling on those tyres. Those soft tyres proving to be very tricky for his Renault. I was going to say he could be a help to Jack, Softy, with Cliffy coming out around him in the pit stops, but now no threat of that. As we go back to Paul, who's fighting over P7 and 8, as you said. Got to keep an eye out for this one. Both these two, of course, Paul had a respectable P3 in Japan. Owen was only 7th, currently looking for a similar position, and Jack Pearson has called it a day. Will that bring out a second VSC or first safety car of the day? Cliffy for now remains out on track, doesn't choose to pit as Softy responds with a 1:33.7, the quickest lap for the race so far, as Paul looks to get within a second of Owen, and in fact John right behind Paul himself. So John, the two Has drivers, getting back at it, not the inside he goes. He laid on the brakes. Aiden will come back at it, and Paul takes back the position. Not sure Paul saw that coming, or maybe he did see it coming, Barry.
Yeah, maybe. I think that surprised him a bit there. He's a bit scruffy in the S's, and John wants that P8 off him.
He wants the additional 2 points for the position. You can see Paul struggling, and John is all over the Sauber driver. In fact, now Owen's managed to pull a couple of seconds clear of Paul. So Paul, I think, is actually on the soft tyres and struggling out there. Shows the difference that the tyres make. And now we're going to see a good run here on Paul with DRS. Not a lot of hers left, as you can see, but the DRS should be enough. Look at that straight line speed, the slipstream. And for now, he goes into the position ahead of Paul. But will Paul brake late on the brakes and take it back? He doesn't. John takes the position. Maybe Paul knows it's not a battle worth fighting. Maybe he can get ahead of Owen, hold Owen up, and therefore give Paul someone's race again. Well, Cliffy does indeed pit, Barry.
Yep, he's in the pits now. Nice clean stop.
He'll come out behind Dan and Softy, I believe. Will he be ahead of Josh? There's a 4 seconds gap between Softy and Josh. Softy.
It's going to be tight with Josh. No, I think he's got him. Yep,
in fact, he has. Several now has made their pit stops. There is 5 laps in this race to go. Matt looking very good for his first win of the season. James doing well in P2, but it's not enough. With Softy in 4th, the championship is going to go to Softy.
Paul's not giving this position up. He's right back on the back of John.
John goes very wide.
Wide.
He has to cut the corner to avoid an incident, and Paul takes the position. Thank you very much. Pulled back through into P8 again.
Or was that tactics from John? Because now John will get DRS on the straight.
Indeed he will, and in fact, speaking of the straight, we can see now Softy all over the back of Dan. Can he make a move up the inside and take the position? Dan defends the inside. Softy though will have better traction. Surely he will. He'll have the outside now. Will that be enough to go ahead of the Ferrari driver? Dan needs to help his team out here.
Oh.
He's coming at a snail's pace. He can't allow Softy to go through if he wants his teammate to take the title fight to next week's races. You can see how tight it is here. Softy wants that podium. Would be a fantastic result from where he started on the grid back in P11. And there's still a long way to go. He probably thinks his chances are still pretty high to take a second place finish. I think Matt probably too far ahead, but Softy looking to clear Dan and looking to chase down James O'Connor in second.
We've missed Paul did get back past John. They were side by side on the straight, and I think Paul went in the inside and kept that position.
Well, you can see Cliffy also right on the back of Softy. He is joining this fight too, and of course on the quicker tyres, the fresher rubber. And look at how close Softy is to Dan. He's pushing Dan around. He wants to get that position. He's hungry for it. Dan will want to take back-to-back podiums. And of course, remember, Ferrari are fighting Renault in the Constructors too. Sauber's hunt looks to be over. It looks to be now a battle between Ferrari and Renault. Softy really go for the inside. He chooses not to. Dan doesn't even defend it. So he probably didn't expect the Renault driver to even go for it. But now, surely, Softy would have saved his little boost of theirs. With the slipstream, surely now it's going to be too much for Dan to defend. And Softy goes right. Dan will keep the inside. Can he keep the position? Cliffy behind. Watch him too. Dan breaks later and takes the position back again. Look at this, the three of them are so close. Dan the man really struggling. But Softy may have just done it. He's got the inside for the next corner, and Softy takes the position, does he? In fact, Cliffy goes out on the pair of them. Cliffy takes both of them.
Oh, slight contact.
They bang wheels. Softy and Cliffy, they're not good friends on or off the track, and you can see that Softy has gained the position on Dan, but lost the position to Cliffy. But takes, look at that, fantastic move.
Wow.
Getting so close, the three of them. Cliffy on the inside, the two of them bang wheels. Softy's round, and that's going to make it in Joe Say's season review. That's a beautiful shot, and Softy is round and down to P5, and now still not quite enough. Virtual safety car, and that's a shame for Josh, because if Josh had got ahead of Softy there, maybe James would have been far enough ahead. James with 18 points, Softy cutting on for 10. In fact, as things stand, if James is going to finish second, Softy only needs to be 6th. So 6th place is good enough for Softy to take the title. You can tell Softy and Cliffy aren't great mates. The two of them, that was personal. Very much like Verstappen in Ocon. And you can see also John still right on the back of Paul, just 2 tenths. The safety car VSC has ended now, in fact. And let's see what's going to go on track. Down the man, will he have a run on Cliffy? He won't, but he'll now obviously have the big straight line ahead of him. John also looking to make a move on Paul. Will we see Dan use his DRS? He will. He'll use his theirs. Will we see Dan the man retake P3 from Cliffy, who is on the faster tyres? Cliffy keeps the position. Dan can't get any close enough. And Josh himself is right on the back of Softy. Good spot. Jack can't help his team out this time.
Paul goes defensive. John's going to go around the outside.
These two still scrapping away. Brilliant to watch. Paul shuts him out there. And then breaks late. John. Paul just about goes wide. Hangs on. Can't quite make it.
He's going to go for the inside line.
You bet he will. And he looks to have taken the position. He does. And you can see in the background his teammate.
Who's that?
His teammate. The two Haas drivers. Again, putting on a show. The two Haas drivers have been very close today. And now John will have a go on Paul. So, great scratch throughout the field. There's only 2.5 laps to go now for Matt. Looking very good to take the win. Going to be his first win of the season. Fantastic for him. Cliffy right on the back of James now. So battles throughout this field. Hard to pick one. But let's go with this one. This is only going to cement Softy's title if Cliffy goes through and takes P2, because if James is only 15th and Softy only needs P10. So Cliffy now looks to take the position. Is it going to be strong? James is weaving. Maybe he's trying to say, I'm not going to fight you. Go on the inside. It looks like he is. Cliffy goes on the inside, takes the position, and it's an easy move into P2. James choosing not to fight it. James wants the podium. Not worth scrapping to keep P2. Will Dan the man put a move on James. We can see Josh is still within a second of Softy. So Softy may be struggling with some sort of damage out there. As the two Haas drivers and Sauber are still scrapping away. Paul's in a Haas sandwich.
Defensive move there from John.
This is proven to be a disaster for Paul as the two Haas drivers have made contact.
Boys.
The two Haas drivers have made contact. That is not what they wanted to do, and Paul almost took the pair of them. And that really was a disaster for Haas there. Paul McGee back into P9, and now somehow it's smudge ahead of John.
That's a shame for John, because he had Paul on the straight and then he dived into the left hand side of the corner to defend Paul coming back at him, and that was a shame. But good show.
Well, as things stand, Renault are only going to score 10 points. Ferrari are somehow going to score 17 more, 27. Unless these two take each other out, which I'm sure they will not be doing. Will they choose to fight each other? The title is going to Softy, no matter where these two finish at the moment. So, therefore, will James choose to fight his teammate that much? They can't allow Softy to close back on the pair. He's 3 seconds back. So it should be enough for those two. But will we see Dan go for the move? Will James defend it if he does? Let's see what Dan does. Dan goes to the inside. James choosing to stay on the outside. And Dan the man takes the final podium, I think. The two of them side by side. And James just about keeps hold of it. So still scrapping away. James is going to fight it. They both want this podium. Dan looking for a second of the night. Dan getting very close. They cannot afford to take each other out as Matt now starts his final lap of the race. Just needs to get it to the end. Cliffy's too far back. He's 8 seconds back. It's looking very good for Matt. But James and Dan, I mean, Barry, it's alright getting involved in an incident now and again, but to get involved in an incident with your teammate, that's just the last thing you want, isn't it?
It is the last thing you want, yeah. So disappointing with the Haas boys coming into contact, and Ferrari boys, they can't afford to. They need to keep it clean because they're in a constructors battle, and Dan goes down the inside.
And Dan's taking P3 ahead of his teammate on this final lap. Will James fighting back? He'll have, of course, the big straight to come. DRS and look how close they are. It's so close between the two of them. Dan looks to get a bit of a breathing space now. So maybe James backed up a little bit there, or messed up his section of corners. James will have this one final chance, you suspect. This one real good chance for him. But Matt's looking very good. Out front, is it raining? It is raining. Wow, a few spots of rain there, you can see now. A little late. Shame we didn't come a little earlier on.
Could have spiced things up a bit.
That would have been very nice. But Matt looking very good then for the win, it seems. Ferrari looking to take some good points out of Renault. I think Dan's going to be safe in third. In fact, it is raining a little heavier now. Shame this didn't come a couple laps earlier. That really would have interested things up a little bit more, as much as they already are. But here comes Matt to cross the finish line and take his win. A fantastic drive from him, Barry.
Yep, faultless drive. Drive of the day for me on that race.
Controlled it.
But really well done to Cliffy again from the back of the grid.
Dan, well, we've seen that before. Dan famously let Jonas through. Jonas went on to lose the title by 178 points. But in the same situation here, maybe Dan didn't know quite the outcome of the championship. It doesn't matter. James takes the podium, and with Softy in P5, Softy in all that drama, is your new Drivers' Champion. A third Drivers' title. Softy's done it. Will he come? Will he come? The Socop is your Drivers' Champion in P5. Wow, what a season it's been for him, Barry.
It's been a great season for him. It really has. When he's been up there, he's just drove straight away. For me, this is probably one of his disappointing races, but that said, he did manage to crawl his way back up. A podium possibly was on the card, but with that little contact with Cliffy and spinning round. But nevertheless, congratulations to Softy on another championship.
Fantastic news for him. A great result for Matt as well, taking the win. Cliffy back on the podium, but here are your race results. Owen recovering to 7th in the end after the incident earlier in the race. Smudge did in fact beat Paul and John, so the two house drivers and Sava had that great scrap for so long. Aidan came home in P11. Goings, Jack and Phil rounding out the results. So what a night it's been in TGP1. Join us again next week for Mexico and Brazil, the penultimate night of the season. Join us tomorrow for TGP2, where we do it all again. And good luck on that one, Barry. But wow, what a night it's been.
You too.
Thank you. What a night it's been for Matt and Softy. Softy is your Drivers' Champion of Season 30. A fantastic achievement. From me and Barry, it's good night and see you next week.
Good night.